Hey everybody, it is Matt and Dyan, and welcome back to OK Aussie.
I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know what you're doing episode.
So, sorry.
Well, we're actually going to do
Apologies
a reaction piece. Well,
apologies in advance.
Don't you like things that you don't know about?
No, I don't
No,
like
she
things I
doesn't,
don't know
does she?
about.
So
I
this...
must know everything.
Well,
tell me everything about yourself. Hi. Come on.
Go on.
Tell
right now,
me.
in the comments, tell me, she says. There'll be lots of comments.
Probably.
Lots of things to know. We're doing a reaction piece this morning on OK Aussie. Now, Dyan is autistic. She has studied psychology. It is her special interest.
Can you show them my flower?
Okay. You've got a hyper focus on things because of autism. You've got a distraction because you've got ADHD. Let's show the flower. Right. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a flower. I'm placing the flower here.
They can't see it.
They saw the flower.
Get the flower?
Yeah, and now there you go. You got a flower and a Hello Kitty.
Can you be seen? Yes.
That's very autistic because one, it's special interests. You're distracted by sparkles. Your collections of things. This is what it's all about. Now, guys, if you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Dyan and myself, Matt. Dyan has this condition, a rare chromosomal disorder called 22q11.2 deletion syndrome. Look, the numbers vary, but it's anywhere between 5 and 10,000 one in the population that has this particular condition.
I'm sitting next to you guys with Down syndrome. You're on the 21st arm. Hey,
of
buddies.
the chromosome. Exactly.
Yep.
And it is a chromosomal disorder.
Buddies, right?
It's a microdeletion. And because it's a microdeletion of the long arm of the 22nd chromosome, it means you're missing about 40 to 60 genes. Over the whole body, that means there's about 180 plus different symptoms and issues and conditions. And
I have a lot of issues.
She's got a lot of issues.
I'm 50.
That's how you actually came across this.
I know,
because
people don't
it was the long
realise
journey.
my age. It's people say the weirdest things, but I don't look my age, so it's really tricky. But I am 50.
Yes, you are.
I have beaten the odds so far, and I'm continuing to hopefully.
For that. And we'll talk more about that part. But you're right, and the reason why you look younger because of your skin and the collagen component, the connective tissue disorder, is loss, down loss. Hypermobility is part of 22q, and so are many other things. Like I said, autism, ADHD, OCD, Tourette's, seizures. Oh my God, so many things. But today's episode is specifically in the realm of autism. I'm reading an article that I've seen in the press from Forbes, okay, Forbes magazine. This is actually an article by Mark Travers. He's a contributor. And Mark Travers writes about the world of psychology. Now, Dyan, like I said, has studied psychology. It's her special interest. I don't think she's really stopped studying psychology.
Yes,
and a funny little nuance is there's a lot of autistic females that actually do study psychology.
That's what Tony
to get to know about themselves.
Professor Tony Atwood in Australia says that.
Yeah.
I know that he's originally from the UK and he lives in Australia.
You've grabbed him, you've taken hold of him, we own him now.
He's the guru.
He is for female
you want to know
autism,
about
particularly.
any autism as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guru, guys. Get his books, learn his stuff, especially if you've got kids. Follow him.
Okay, so now that we've put that into context, like I said, Dyan studied psychology. I want a psychological perspective on this article. What's the article called? It's called A Psychologist Reveals 2 Reasons Behind Autistic Masking.
Ooh, what's the 2 reasons? Because
well, we're going to find that out.
If I agree.
And we're going to see.
Let's see if you agree.
Before I started this episode, I actually asked Dyan, do you have a mask? I wanted to do a bit of a showpiece, you know, have the mask, take it off, the unmasking.
I used to have them for dancing. I had masks.
But you've got a lot of headbands. Do they count? I think you've got 1,000 of those.
Yeah, but that's
not quite the same thing.
A collection.
Maybe there's a new collection you can get. Masks.
Well, when I look at those eye ones, I'm always like, oh my God, those dancing days when you so hard to dance in. You lose your peripheral vision.
Peripheral vision's pretty important.
And when you're dancing in a group, or even if you're in a trio, it's like, I'm going to hit the person next to me. I swear to God.
Honey.
And me,
oh my God.
I can't be trusted.
That's what I mean. You can't be trusted. And with your dyspraxia, I'm surprised you haven't taken the whole troop down. It'll be like a catastrophic thing dancing with you.
I used to be front and centre, which means
that's
you're
probably
always
a reason.
2 steps ahead.
Exactly. Put you at the front, you're safer.
Then I can't whack anyone with my arms.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, whatever.
No, it's because you're small, honey, and that's a 22q
that's
thing.
Why
a failure to thrive. A failure to grow.
I prefer duos. I hated solos.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
The pressure's on me. Okay, when you're in a trio and a duo, it's like, well, I might fuck up, but someone else might fuck up too.
It takes the pressure off you.
Yes.
And that's interesting that you say that as a segue, because that might come out in this article, the fact that why females or any autistic actually must. Let's read it. I'm going to read it verbatim. So like I said, I am attributing this to the Forbes article. It is called A Psychologist Reveals 2 Reasons Behind Autistic Marking. It is by Mark Travers. He does write about the world of psychology, and the date of this reference is October 3rd, 2024. Okay, let's get into this. Autistic masking or camouflaging. I camouflage. I wear camouflage pants all the time. I just want to hide. I don't want to be seen.
Where's your legs?
Everybody
Where's your
says
legs?
that. Now, camouflaging refers to the conscious or unconscious effort to hide or suppress traits and behaviours associated with autism to blend in or meet societal expectations.
Do you know what
This can involve mimicking neurotypical social cues, facial expressions, maintaining small talk, hiding sensory discomfort, or altering body language to fit in with others. Go. I haven't even got through the first paragraph. She's ready. She's gone.
When I was this teenage girl, like literally from the beginning of teenage girl, as in like 13.
13, okay.
I used to sit in front of a mirror because everyone used to say that I had the, you know, Wednesday
Adam look.
So it's like
the actual crossing of the arms and giving him that side eye.
Who can I trust?
Right.
Because, you know, I'll tell you this. I don't like many people. And I don't mean I have hate for other people. It's just with autism, it has to be a person I understand and vice versa. They've got to understand me. But when I do say, yeah, I like this person, I'm loyal as. So it's like, it's very like that, right?
Yeah.
So my relationships in my life are very quality, not quantity. Never has been. So, you know, when everybody at school stays in touch, I was not that kid. I only stayed in touch with people that I was very close to. Not sort of, even though the ones that were a bit more distant wanted to stay in touch, and I was like, nah. Because basically it's not meant to offend, it's just because an autistic feels the need to be around people that are very much, they can be themselves around.
Very important.
But I remember looking in a mirror and practicing facial expressions because I was sick of being told that I had that, you know, like they would say, you know, you give me the evil eye, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, you know, they'd have to ask me, like, are you okay? Are you mad at me? And I'm like, no. And I'm thinking, what is wrong with these people? They all think I'm mad at them. So anyway, I had to practice, and I remember when I look back, I didn't know what I was consciously doing, but when I look back, that's obviously what I was doing. I was practicing in the mirror. So look, I'm used to practicing in the mirror, and I think the idea came from dancing. So if I was doing my turns, I would practice right in front of the mirror so that I was perfect at them for the next time I go back to dancing. So that was normal for me.
Okay, well here's another thing.
But I sat there practicing my facial expressions.
I'm not surprised.
Smiling in different ways. You know, if I act surprised, you know, I had to
Go, show me again. Show me your surprise face. Even got the hand in that position. That's so cute. Well, here's another thing that I've actually noticed, and I've actually heard about a lot with Dyan. She's actually learnt about social cues and how to behave, social stories, through watching TV. TV particularly. Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch is how I learned to be a mummy.
Right. What other shows
Well, just
resonate?
learned how to discipline. I actually learned how to discipline kids.
Okay.
Well, I learned about, like, to me, I learned, like, what life is about. You know, you should go to school. You need to get your schoolwork done. You need to, you know, have dinner and try and eat most of your dinner. You need to get on with your family members as much as you can. You need to be respectful. You know, I don't know. Like, to me, it was just watching how those kids acted towards their parents helped me to be able to communicate to my parents even.
So you've learned from a TV show how to be.
My parents found me difficult because I wasn't the type of kid that was easy to talk to because I wasn't sophisticated with my speech.
Now, on that note, the actual ability to maintain small talk must be very difficult in social interactions as well.
With a very social family, very difficult.
And how did you learn,
very difficult.
I guess, the nuances of small talk, as we call it? I think that we take for granted, perhaps.
When I was a kid, being that my family would adopt everyone and like just love to, they were very social people.
Yep.
Not just like, we were a large family and we'd all socialise a lot and we're very close, but there was also many people brought in.
Right.
And were long-term family friends. So what I used to do as a kid is just leave.
Okay.
So if the lounge room got a bit much, it's like, okay, I'm going outside.
Right.
And even if the kids outside, like my cousins and second cousins
Yeah.
and whatever else, and friends of, you know, of other families that
Right.
were over, if the kids got too much, I'd leave them as well.
So you've just answered what Mark
and
Travers
I'd
says in
go
this
off
article
and play
about
like with the chickens,
hiding
or
sensory discomfort. So you've actually taken the action of taking yourself
I go
away.
sit around by back of the shed and just sit down and
Right.
pick out some weeds just
So
to get some.
other people aren't aware, but you are literally
I need a break from these
hiding.
people.
So,
like
so
they
far,
are just intense.
first paragraph, we've ticked a lot of boxes and we've got a lot of background that actually relates. Now look, Mark Travers
what I
also
did in high
says,
school, I still
however, the emotional toll of constantly suppressing one's natural inclinations can lead to negative mental health consequences such as exhaustion, heightened anxiety, and
Not
a
if you
disconnect,
do what I
a
do,
disconnection
walk
from
away.
one's true identity, according to the 2021 study published in Autism in Adulthood. So, do you feel, first of all, before we go on, that there is an emotional toll of this constant suppressing, of this exhaustion,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
and leading to just even a bad outlook on how you feel about yourself and in society, but negativity?
Yeah, because I feel like people who see autistics like myself who have learnt, you know, it's a bit like if Sheldon Cooper was a real person.
From the Big Bang Theory, we're talking about the
From the
character.
Big, from the Big Bang Theory. Everyone would say, oh, you've got a PhD, so you're not really that autistic. That's a common consensus out there. And it's sad because it's like, in our special interests, we are like a savant. We are
highly
very
focused.
good at it, right? But the problem is
You
that
might not be able to tie your own shoelace still.
Still can't tie my shoelaces properly. I get frustrated. I still can't do up like bracelets in certain ways and certain different bracelet types. I still have things that I can't do myself.
Basic functioning skills.
Executive functioning skills as a 50-year-old.
Yeah.
So I also I can't navigate my own age group. I can't be in groups.
I wonder if
and
this
survive.
is where the anxiety component of autism comes a lot from, is the basis of dealing with this in society and other people and interactions.
If I was to describe anxiety for autism, it's more about the sensory overload.
Okay.
The more sensory overload in any area, not even just social, it could be noise, it could be lights, it could be like certain triggering sounds. Like we all have different ones.
Sure.
Like for me, it's those old loud motorbike types.
Yes, I understand. Very roaring, strong sounds. Yeah.
So there's certain sounds that we all are more.
Yeah. And look, from my perspective, I appreciate the sensory component. I would have anxiety, and I do have, you know, from...
We've always got anxiety.
I had to actually push
born
through
with anxiety.
for socialisation parts.
We're born with
being
anxiety.
able to engage. What is the right thing
Yeah.
to say? Will they like you because you say the right thing? Are you on point? Or having to actually be able to speak in public. And look, a lot of people have that anyway, you know, being able to be comfortable. But just knowing that, that's a very anxious thing for me. And yet I've had to conquer and counteract that to be able to speak in front of, you know, thousands or tens of thousands of people
See,
at
I
time
don't
presentations.
care what people think of me. My issue is I get a lot of people that end up being combative because if I'm abrupt, but I don't mean to be, or if I tell the inconvenient truth, then I become the enemy and they start getting mad. I've got no time for that. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Oh, she is a lover, not a fighter. Michael Moore, Inconvenient Truth, wasn't it the one that did that show? Anyway, despite the cost, I'm reading it from Mark Travers, masking is a habit that many autistic individuals develop. Growing up in a neurotypical inclined world, in a 2019 study published in the Journal of Autism and the Developmental Disorders, researchers surveyed 262 autistic adults to learn the primary reason behind such a behaviour. I wonder if they're mostly males too. But anyway, I don't know. But it doesn't actually say that in this study.
I mean,
now, here are two reasons why...
Okay.
Boy, there's a lot of noise in this room today.
Jasmine.
There are two reasons why autistic individuals feel compelled...
Good girl.
Hello.
Sorry, Jazzie's being a distractor.
So here are the two.
So chatty.
Oh, again, I'll try again. Here are the 2 reasons why autistic individuals feel compelled to mask their traits according to the study. Do you have any guesses before I continue?
Say the question again.
Oh, I love this. This is so hard.
Sensory. No.
Jasmine, you're not helping.
I have auditory processing disorder.
Yes.
I have a lot of disorders.
Yeah.
I have a lot of issues.
And
I do go here.
I have a lot of things to deal with
I do go here, and I have a lot of problems.
So I'm going to read it again.
I have a lot of
Here
feelings.
are 2 reasons. And I'm going to read them so you can listen.
But can I guess them? So ask the question.
I'm going to try. Why autistic individuals feel compelled to mask their traits according to a study.
Because
what
we
are they?
want to fit in, because the majority is the majority. And
Well,
if you
that's
don't
funny.
fit in, then you don't get the things like the right job, and you don't get through your job, and you don't get like friendship groups or friendships, or you'll end up missing out.
Let's see if she's right. Do you think she's right? I wonder. Number 1.
We don't like it.
Listen now. Fitting in and passing in a neurotypical world. The most common reason autistic individuals mask is the desire to fit in and avoid standing out. In a predominantly neurotypical society, many autistic individuals find it challenging to meet societal expectations for social behaviour, communication and body language.
I know, right? Because if I had a choice, I'd say no.
Many autistic individuals also camouflage
autistically me
to influence the impressions they make on others, especially in professional, like I was just saying, educational or social context.
Educational, professional settings, it is so
They may
difficult.
feel pressure to present themselves in a way that aligns with neurotypical standards of behaviour to avoid being judged as less capable or too socially awkward for these roles. Additionally, 2016, a study published in Research in Autism Spectrum Disorders found that adolescents with autism are often motivated to develop friendships and fit in with their peers, but have difficulty doing so and mask in the process. Did you feel forced to actually have friends that you maybe didn't want to have, but you needed to have to be able to fit into the overall whole in a school environment, a social group?
100%, because I had my close friends.
Yes.
Jasmine.
Yes, I know. What about you,
Miss
Jasmine?
Don't take. She wants to talk to Mum. She loves me. I love her. But basically, sorry, what were we?
See, this is the thing about auditory processing, and hence why I've removed the stimulus, because it will easily distract and she'll go on tangents. Additionally, 2016, the study published Research in Autism Spectrum Disorders found that adolescents with autism are often motivated to develop friendships and fit in with their peers, but have difficulty doing so and mask in the process. Were you compelled? Did you feel to build friendships that you may not have normally wanted to?
Those close friendships are like, easy to sort of navigate because I was close to them. Still hard, but they wanted to be part of, as we got into high school and this group started growing, they accepted all these other people together, and I ended up in a group of like 20 of us girls, and so only really 1, 2, 3 of the girls I was very, very close with, and at the time in high school I knew would protect me at all costs, right? And that's all I really had. Whereas some of the other ones, I was forced to be friends with, and actually was friends with out of fear because they were a lot of them were my bullies behind everyone's back, though.
Remember that word bullying? No, I'm sorry. Remember that word bullying because it's going to come out in a moment in this conversation.
Behind everyone's back, though. So a lot of them didn't know I was being bullied by each of those people, right? So that was even harder. But I didn't want to be friends with so many people. And what ended up happening as I got older in high school is, just like at home, I used to play with a girl across the road. She was 3 years younger than me, and we got on better than any of my friends.
From a maturity developmental level, that matches.
My dance friends, luckily being that, even though I was in advanced seniors, even in that group, we had all age groups. Even when I did the dance troupe for WA Dance, with Jan Jelinski, like, we had a group of girls with all different age groups. We had from young adults,
but you would gravitate
right down
more to the
to
younger ones.
I was like 12.
Intellectually, it makes more sense.
Yeah, so I would gravitate towards people younger. And at school, in high school, the last couple of years, I was friends with a girl, we were best mates, and I ended up sitting with her the most, and not going to the big group as much
of your peers,
for the last
of your
2
age,
years, and she was a year younger than me.
And there's a commonality to this, a particular 22q11.2 deletion syndrome, where not only is there the failure to thrive, there's first of all global developmental delays in early onset, there's intellectual developmental delays as well. So there's a struggling there to be able to go, how do I engage and how do I fit in?
And that's why I also used to socialise the most with my dance friends anyway, because I was at dancing on a daily basis. So I was a student teacher and there was only 2 of us, and the other student teacher was also 3 years younger than me.
So I've got 2 questions coming out of this.
And we were really, like, we got on, well, like a house on fire. And on the weekends, we would hang out all the time.
Do you understand that saying, by the way, a house on fire?
No, actually.
If you think about it.
Explain it?
So you get on like a house on fire.
Like, I know that it means we get on really, really well. But no, I do not understand that.
We'll take that one off site and we'll look at that one a little bit later. But I wanted to not take away from the kids. But I just brought that up because it's like,
I'm really interested to know now.
There's literature and sayings. But there's 2 things I saw. You actually get on well with males from an intellectual perspective.
Yeah.
I wonder,
at school.
But in a peer thing, was that easy to do? Because you perhaps prefer to have males as your friendship, not as a relationship sense, but as an intellectual, social sense.
There was 2 problems with that. I got on well with a lot of boys at school, primary school, high school. It was a thing for me.
You're a tomboy, activity.
Yeah, I was a tomboy, very sporty girl, even though I dressed like a girly girl. But I was very sporty, very fit. With my ADHD, like I'm the hyper version, I really, really got into sport heavily. Any opportunity, it was like I'm in, except for team sports. Not good at that.
Don't
because
play well
in
with others.
netball, I had an argument with the sports teacher in year 5 because I said it's stupid to pivot on one foot because I can't move. And if I can't move, I can't get the ball in the net. Actually, in the ring. So I don't quite understand netball. Anyway, so moving on from that, I don't play team sports. So at the end of the day,
oh, this is funny. Yeah. Boys, males.
Boys, I had them, and then in high school it got more awkward because you know why? Obvious, right? People think, oh, that's your boyfriend. No. No, that's not my boyfriend. He's my friend.
And that's what you would have desired to have had for the interaction, the intelligence.
No, I was like, because that's the other thing. So I had many of these boys, like about half of my boy friends, would at some point go, will you go out with me? And I'm like, oh God,
I've crossed that line.
Now I have to say something. This is awkward. And so I'd be like, but you're my friend. Can we just be friends? Like, I don't want a boyfriend. Like, I'm just not ready for that.
Okay, so we covered the boy concept. There's one other question that I have.
And so then I would be like hurting people's feelings all the time. It was really tough. It was really tough.
So here's my other question, and I appreciate that. Were you felt, or did you ever feel pressured into having friendships, maybe from a parent or a teacher situation? Maybe they recognised that maybe you were more isolated, or you didn't have enough.
I was always told, like, because I was sitting with adults all the time.
Right.
Whether it was like a family gathering, whether it was my mum having her friends as a gathering, it would be always said by my mum, other family members, family friends of ours, of my mum's, of my family. They'd say, don't you want to go play with the kids? And I'd be like, nah. You guys are talking about interesting stuff.
Right.
I don't want to go out. They're stupid. They're stupid. At the moment, they're playing like this game and it's stupid.
Okay.
Like, it's
I think
really
we're discovering
dumb.
a bit of an insight into this as we go along. Now, I'm going to come back to Mark Travers and the Forbes article, and I'm going to continue to read on this one.
To what all these adults talked about.
Listen hard to this next part. The need to pass as neurotypical often stems from early experiences of feeling different or excluded. By camouflaging, autistic people attempt to navigate social interactions more smoothly and build relationships that might otherwise be difficult. However, this comes at the cost of their authentic self-expression. Now, the second point,
and see,
why
I've
masking
stuck
occurs,
to my authenticity. See, I was raised in a country town that was probably perfect environment for an autistic.
Yes, I think so.
Because that town was all about Be you.
Small.
Screw everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
We're a special town. We have escaped those
Very
idiots in the
hippie-ville.
city.
Mm-hmm.
They're all idiots, and we're doing it different. And
We
we're going
won't
to
conform.
love everyone. We're not going to conform to anything in a healthy way, guys.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to
Very
eat
much a
healthy.
Montessori sort of
We're
approach
going
to
to
life.
be
Yeah.
healthy. We're going to be a community. We're going to support each other, and our like all of us kids got on. Everybody.
You're
now,
a free range
if I was
chickens.
born there, my name would be probably Star, Moon,
Rainbow. Yeah.
River, Rainbow, Rain, many things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of lucky. Could have ended
I
up
think
with a
the
name
spelling
like
of your
that.
name is pretty unique as it is anyway.
I
mean,
know,
come on.
right?
Right?
It's weird.
It gets everybody. They always call you Dylan
It's
because they
Dyan,
think
like Diane,
D-Y-A-N.
like Lady Diane,
Okay.
Diana.
Yeah.
Well, she's
Princess
Diana.
Diana. Yeah.
But Lady Diana.
All right, let me come back to
But
this conversation.
basically, that's my name, and
Yeah.
it's just spelled different. But
Okay.
yeah.
Can I come back to this one?
Yeah.
The second point. So remember there were 2 points. We've discovered and outlined the first one. The second point you have also touched upon. That is avoiding retaliation and bullying. So another common reason behind masking is to protect oneself from the negative reactions and bullying that can arise
Toilet
when
rooms
one's
are really good to
autistic
hide
traits
in.
are more visible.
Let's go to the toilets.
Explain that.
So I remember even in year 1,
Primary school, yeah.
was it year 2? Hang on. Might have even been later, might have even been year 3. Anyway, when I was in that real young
Junior primary.
junior primary, right? I had this particular school I was at, and it was brick. These weird brick design, and it was very dark toilets.
Hmm.
But that's why I liked it.
Right.
So I used to go to
Sensory
the far
deprivation.
end stool where it was so dark. And because of the heavy brick, because in Australia we have double brick on everything,
Mhm.
and
Noise
basically
reduction.
it's such a noise reduction. And I would sit there and it would just be like, ah, this is
Yeah.
amazing. And I'd hear all the kids playing just in the distance, and I'm like, it's too much.
It's too much, yeah.
Like, and I'd wait for things to calm down, then I'd go, oh,
Really
it
shows
must
that
be time to
sensory
go back
overload
into
in the
class.
school
So
and
some
group
days I
environments.
had to do that.
You can also see why the benefit of obviously
I didn't
ear
know
or
why I
over
was
ear
doing it.
Noise reduction.
I just thought, like,
benefit, yeah.
seriously, because of my family being so social and them making me
Yep.
feel antisocial, I honestly thought that that's my problem. That was my problem. I thought that I was just like this really antisocial human
Sure.
being.
So that explains the sensory components. So coming back to
Yeah.
avoiding retaliation and bullying, and you've said that a lot.
Okay, so
And you said that in your female social
Okay,
group.
so I didn't go to
bullying.
school at many. So, for example, at those year groups where bullying happens a lot, or drama, girl drama, I would literally stay home a lot more often.
Right.
School refusal happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because I just didn't want to deal with it. It's like, no, I'm not dealing with that.
Mm.
I'm just not. Like, autistics do not like toxicity, guys. It's
Yeah.
like we're allergic to
Avoid
it.
it like the
We
plague.
will avoid it, and that's how much avoidance I did. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to school.
Now,
Not
in
going.
those early days, you didn't
Drama
have
queens.
you didn't have a label. So, for example, at primary
No.
school, you didn't have a label that
Developmental
officially
delay.
said
No,
developmental
developmental
delay, but you
delay.
didn't have autism. You
Hyperactivity.
didn't have ADHD as a nice
No, but they
rounded
used
label.
to call it hyperactivity,
Yeah.
though. That was the old name
Correct.
for the hyper of ADHD.
Yeah.
So that's your
Those
name.
parts.
So I was known as a dyslexic child,
Mhm.
as a
Developmentally
delayed child,
and a hyper child.
a hyper child.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
They
as
knew I
went
had
along,
issues being in special ed.
100%. So
Oh,
many
yeah.
autistic individuals, after disclosing or someone else telling them about their autistic identity or behaving in ways that obviously deviate from neurotypical norms, for many, past experiences of bullying or social rejection play a critical role in the decision to camouflage. By masking, they feel a sense of safety as it reduces the chances of drawing unwanted attention or
We have
criticism.
to sometimes.
While this strategy may
No
prevent
choice.
immediate harm, the long-term psychological toll of constantly guarding against negative reactions can be deeply
You
draining.
can't do it all the time.
No.
You can't. Don't.
No. And
You
it causes
can't.
the more of the withdrawal, that social isolation.
It does, and it's
missing
not.
out.
It's not because we actually want more social than what we do get. But the reason is exactly that.
Mm.
Is people force us into masking. So, for example, you're being yourself, and then someone will say, "Hey, you need to act like this," and you're like, "Oh, there we go." They won't let me be me. And that's when you start to withdraw from that person.
And by pulling back, you miss out on the good parts of what social interaction can actually bring. You're missing out on the protection of the group, being part of something, of the supports from others. But you also can miss out on, and this is why we've seen TV shows such as Dating on the Spectrum, for example.
Yeah.
So those sort of things come along because it becomes a difficulty to find relationships. Friendships,
even friendships. So yeah, Love on the Spectrum they should expand that to like a show with about friendships, because autistics that would really help people understand us socially. There should be like,
there's a new idea for our next series.
Find your best friend.
Spectrum.
You know, your autistic best friend, because we should really be socializing with our own sort of neurodivergent type.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, like I think they should have a show that's love on the friendship, you know, because basically everyone wants a best friend, but I can go without one though. That's the thing for autistics, I believe. We can withdraw so easily because we have so many special interests, so many like we just like our own company.
She has lots of. Hey Tony, have a look at me for a second. Stare at my eyes.
Okay,
so. Okay, I'm going to say something now. We currently think that masking includes things such as making eye contact, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable.
God, that was...
Or not talking about your interests too much.
He violated my eyeballs.
For fear of being labelled weirdo. So I'm going to read all this again. We currently think that masking includes
I know, someone shook my hand recently and I went...
How do I do this?
It was awkward.
Okay, let me read this part so you can listen, because I know you
Very
lots
awkward.
of thoughts are spinning. I can see the steam coming out of your ears. We currently think that masking includes things such as making eye contact, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, or not talking. So stop it.
Thank you.
Not talking about your interests too much for fear of being labelled weird. Writes the researchers of a 2020 study published by Autism and Adulthood. Autistic people grow up in a social world and experience a lot of negative views about autism. People need to recognise that autism does not look like one type of autism. The researcher said, if you've met one, you've only met one person with autism. We keep saying that same thing to realise that, look, all the studies, and you can say talked about, all the research is based on males for a start. That's all the data is based on. Okay, so even the diagnostic criteria in the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, version 5, that's currently out, which is where that diagnostic process goes through, it's all based on male data.
Yes.
Yes. Now, additionally, a 2022 study published in Research in Autism Spectrum Disorders found that masking is tied to social oppression of autistic people.
There you go.
Don't oppress the autistics.
Let them be.
Researchers highlight the urgent need.
Why can't we be ourselves?
Urgent need. So there's an urgent need for greater acceptance around autism to safeguard their mental health.
Send this to the neurotypicals and say, please accept us. And please just, you know, the difference doesn't mean that you need to fix us.
No. Accept us.
The difference means that just let us be. Because you know what? Being that I'm not just an autistic, I have 22Q, life is too short for that, guys. Okay? It's too short.
Well, we've got some messages to tell the neurotypicals in a moment. So let's finish
and be yourself.
Autistic masking is deeply ingrained as a survival strategy. For your mental health. You've got a survival strategy. You've got a survival toolbox here. Born from the need to navigate a world that often struggles to understand neurodivergent experiences, it's clear that this exacts a heavy toll. The solution doesn't lie in asking autistic individuals to fit into the neurotypical mold, but in creating spaces where diversity is not just tolerated, but genuinely embraced.
If I had to go to a workplace tomorrow, which, God, that would be my dream, to get better and be able to work, that's when, yes, I would have problems, guys. I have a flexible lifestyle because of my disability in general. But if I was in a workplace, yes, I would be masking probably.
How did you go workplace?
Because I would have to do it because you have to get an income, right? So I would have to live a life at my workplace masking, probably not like majority of the day. Sorry, all of the day probably would be the majority, but some of the day I'd be unmasked, because there's always times where you just,
without
a wearing, being
aware.
Sorry, my neurologist is going offline now.
Word finding.
Without being aware, it would happen. But I would have to mask, and I would get home more exhausted because of it. And then after about 6 months, a year, burnout can happen.
87% of autistics can't sustain and hold a full-time job.
And it's so annoying because I love working. I am an ADHD. I love working.
Are there many jobs that you've actually survived past 6 months, in all honesty, because of the actual drain, the physical drain, the fitting in socially?
But it's severely impacted not only like my mental health,
physical health,
and like autistic burnout, but it's affected my physical health. But
and
no,
do you come home from work and go,
6 months is a good gauge.
The social interaction, or the, I just don't understand the games that get played.
Yeah, when I get home, I'm like, nobody talk to me.
Yeah.
Nobody look at me. I remember my mum always being weird. Stop it. My mum would find that weird. She'd be like, this kid keeps saying, don't look at me. It's like, she'd be like, why? Why are you worried about people looking at you? And it's like, it's just an autistic thing. It's like, when we are overloaded from people to peoply, we want, just like, just leave me alone. Don't be in the same room as me. Don't look at me. And let me decompress.
Well, coming back to Mark Travers and the Forbes article, our neurotypical friends out there, here's a little bit of a message for you. Neurotypical allies have a critical role to play in this whole process by showing empathy, questioning their own assumptions, dismantling the stereotypes that exist, and honouring the diverse ways that people experience and interact with the world.
I think that would be
Only
fair.
Then can we move forward to a world where autistic individuals no longer feel the need to hide, but instead are celebrated for who they truly are.
And you'll see a better person, because I'll tell you that. Like, I'm a better autistic person, as in being my real self, than I was being a masking version. And I think that even, you know, if I was to ask my kids, then again, you can't live two lives and do that. But I think if I was unmasked more with my children even, it would have been different, you know? Because, like, even my children have only seen me unmasked way late in my life. So don't put your mask on. Take it off, especially if you're young. Get rid of it quick. I know when you're young, being conscious of what others think of you is a thing. That is kind of what you go through at different age groups. That's not your fault. But for your mental health, think of it that way. Think of it like if you're doing some kind of behavior that you know is harmful to you, like, I don't know, you're eating too many of the wrong things, or drinking too much, or, I don't know, turning to things that you know are going to long-term cause harm. Same thing with autism. Don't mask. It's going to cause long-term harm. Now, if you have to mask because you've got to earn money, you've got to get your job done, I get it. Of course you have to do that. But make sure you've got time to decompress from doing that. And if it's harming you too much, change jobs, change
But I think
lifestyle,
that your words of wisdom just then are more of a adult looking back in with a different lens of knowing the dangers and being able to now and having the toolbox to be able to do that. The reality is that for those who are children, teenagers, adolescents, or young adults going through this process, who may not be even aware, it's the need of the people around them to actually be mindful of, this is the impact, but being an autistic in a neurodivergent world, we are the
minority, guys.
It's like,
and we have to accept that.
How do we cope? How do we deal?
We have to accept we're the minority.
Yeah.
And so we have to find a way through.
So good article.
We both have to come together. Like, I think autistics you need to honour yourself and your limitations.
Yeah.
Your limitations are not a failing. It's called autism.
Yeah.
It's you are being measured to a neurotypical. That's why they say you're failing. You're not failing. I believe human beings always do the best they can. I do believe that. There's a small minority that don't do that. So just be yourself and have expectations of accommodations.
Yeah.
Because you need to have your rights met. And neurotypicals, you also need to come to the party of just learn a little bit about how to get along. Ask them, you know, say to them, like, how do you find, like, we have lots of chats. How do you find that? Do you find that, like, too much? Do you want me to chat to you less? try and find a middle ground with an autistic that maybe you work with. Because look, work has to be social, and that's why autistics get pushed out. But I'll tell you this now. We're in a world where people need to have a job, guys. And you could be the reason, without even knowing, that an autistic quits their job.
The actual benefits that an autistic can actually bring to a workplace
all
as
your
well
work colleagues.
is actually amazing. From hyperfixation, the skill sets, the repetition, to problem solving, all those things are beneficial.
Use them to their advantage.
Yeah,
so if you see they're really good at one thing, hone in on that with them, or what they are good at. Hone in on those things. But I'm just saying, like, there's two people need to meet there, and that will create better productivity. So if you're a employer out there, you need to listen to that. Because you could hire autistics, and they're very hard workers, but you need to make sure it's autistic-friendly work environment.
So it's not just the workplace or in schools and education facilities, but it's also the greater community and society in general. Look, there's a good article by Mark Travers on Forbes. Thank you very much for reacting to that and giving your little insights and anecdotes from your own life to add to that. I hope you've enjoyed this little episode.
I hope you guys got something from that, because it was interesting.
Comments, questions, suggestions, leave them below. We'd love to hear from you.
What do you reckon?
Welcome to the channel if you're new. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and please share our channel so others can find us. And we'll see you in another episode real soon. Bye for now. See ya. I'm masking.